Welcome back to the cryptoworld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now it is happening. We're finally seeing history repeat in the short term for the price of Bitcoin, as the price of Bitcoin is now flashing a new signal that we need to pay attention to that could change everything, at least in the short term, while the price of Bitcoin is continuing to hold above this crucial level of support on the daily time frame, while the US stock market is continuing this major dump, at least in the short term, which I'll talk about in just a moment, while Ethereum is still playing out this important signal we need to pay attention to, while the price of XRP is also starting to play out and already confirming this new bullish divergence on the daily time frame. So I'll be talking about all of that and more later in the video, so definitely watch to the end. First of all, just before taking a look at the Bitcoin and crypto charts today, taking a quick look at the US stock market, because right now, and really over the last 1 week or so, we have been seeing a decent short-term dump here in the US stock market. This right here, in case you're wondering, is the S&P 500 index on the 1 hour time frame. And over the last couple of days, especially in the last couple of trading days, we have seen a decent short-term dump in the US stock market. And in case you're new to the channel, the reason why I'm talking about the US stock market on a crypto channel is because the US stock market can indeed influence what the crypto market does. In fact, a lot of the time, the US stock market and the crypto market are highly correlated, meaning if the US stock market is extremely bullish, it's unlikely we'll see a major bear market for crypto. Or if the US stock market is dumping like this, like what we've seen over the last 1 to 2 weeks, it's likely that we'll see a lot of weakness in the crypto market, as we have seen over the last 1 to 2 weeks. And so just keep this in mind. When I'm talking about the crypto analysis throughout this video, keep this in mind. If the US stock market is continuing to dump, especially if this leads into next week, of course, it's unlikely we'll see a significant recovery or a lot of strength in the crypto market back towards the upside, while the stock market is looking like this. So continue to expect overall weakness for crypto while the stock market is looking like this. But of course, from time to time in the short term on smaller time frames, we can see little short-term reliefs here and there. So keep that in mind. But overall, showing a lot of weakness in terms of the larger movement for the crypto market while the stock market's looking like this. And if we're taking a look at the weekly Bitcoin price chart, technically the super trend indicator still sitting in the green, indicating a larger bull market, which has been the case since basically the beginning of 2023. And if we're taking a look at this weekly Bitcoin price chart, we still have a massive bearish divergence confirmed and already playing out, as I have been warning about every day here on the channel for the last few weeks, since almost all-time highs right here. I've been warning about the reconfirming of the new bearish divergence with a new higher high in the price and a new lower high in the RSI on the weekly time frame, telling us to expect a lot of weakness and lacking bullish momentum for Bitcoin, which means at best some sideways price action, but most likely a bit of a pullback or correction coming over the next few weeks or months as a very likely scenario. And obviously already over the last few weeks, this has started to play out as I predicted weeks ago. And if we're taking a look at this daily Bitcoin price chart, right now we're still holding above my exact area of support that I targeted since all the way back up here, which was sitting in between around 99 to 100,000. And so obviously, at least for now in the short term, this is a great sign to see. It is good to see Bitcoin actually holding an important level of support or an area of support, because if, for example, the price confirms a break below this area, in that situation, we would most likely at least drop down towards 97,000, potentially down towards around 93 to 94,000 as another significant point of support. But once again, right now, still expect a lot of support at roughly 99 to 100,000. And if we actually continue a further bounce here, let's just say we come all the way back up towards close to 110K, give or take, and then see some sort of rejection around there, it is possible we could be forming a massive head and shoulders pattern, as we could see right here on this daily Bitcoin price chart. So keep that in mind. That is a possible risk for a much larger bearish pattern, but obviously for now that's not confirmed. We'd actually have to first see a further bounce in order to continue to possibly form that price pattern. And if we're zooming into the shorter term, taking a look at the 6-hour Bitcoin price chart, we can see that right now, as of recording this video, we have just now seen one confirmation signal officially now confirming a new bullish divergence on the 6-hour Bitcoin price chart. And of course, I talked about this in my last video, but on the 4-hour time frame, this right here, once again, the 6-hour time frame, we can see clear lower lows in the price of Bitcoin in the candle closes and higher lows now officially confirmed with one confirmation in the 6-hour Bitcoin RSI. So obviously that is a bullish divergence, meaning we're most likely going to see either a slight bullish relief like this, or potentially a bit of choppy sideways price action as the most likely outcomes, the most common outcomes from a bullish divergence. And if we're looking at what happened last time we confirmed a bullish divergence on this 6-hour Bitcoin price chart, that's pretty much exactly what we saw over the next 1 week or so. We started off with a bit of choppy sideways price action and then saw a little bit more of a slight bullish relief. But remember, I want to make this clear, a bullish divergence by itself is not enough of a signal, not enough confirmation to confirm a massive bullish trend reversal out of the bearish trend. So keep that in mind. This is not necessarily a reversal signal like what we saw last time. We did play out just a slight relief, but then ultimately continue the bearish trend later on. So that is a possibility moving forward. Once again, a short-term relief maybe over the next few days or so, but not in the clear yet when we're talking about the larger move in the market right now, still showing a lot of weakness. And so this new signal repeating here in the short term for the price of Bitcoin is actually great news for my Bitcoin trading strategy. Of course, if you've been watching any of my videos over the last few weeks or so, you should already know about my Bitcoin trading strategy, which is of course this grid bot, which basically just buys Bitcoin as we go lower and then sells Bitcoin if we see a decent bounce back towards the upside. And this ultimately bets on some sort of bounce happening in the price of Bitcoin, whether it's right now or from a lower price. And the great thing about this compared to a regular long position is, for example, I entered this trade at roughly around 105 or almost 106,000, as you can see right here. So I actually entered this position all the way back up here, give or take, around these previous lows. And so right now, obviously, we're a decent bit below where I entered, but right now it's actually relatively close to break even due to this grid profit right here, which is essentially the price hitting these sell orders, securing profits while we see volatility really in either direction. And so if this was just a regular long position on the price of Bitcoin, currently this trade would be around 1,200 USD in a loss, in an unrealized loss. But due to the fact that this is a grid bot trading strategy, which does secure profits here and there on any little bounce back towards the upside, that of course helps to offset some of those unrealized losses, which basically has the net position only in an unrealized loss right now of around 400 to 500, whereas if it was a regular long position, it'll be an unrealized loss of around 1,200. And so this just shows the benefit of a grid bot over perhaps a regular long position, because it has a slightly better risk to reward ratio. It is slightly safer. As always, there's no such thing as zero risk. Of course, there's always risk with any trade, but it's slightly safer than, let's just say, a regular leverage long position, because if we just dump like this with a long position, if you're in a highly leveraged long position while we're seeing a dump like this, you're likely getting wiped out. Whereas this trading strategy, of course, if we see a dump, as we have seen, I'm not wiped out. In fact, I'm almost at break even. And the moment we see any slight little bounce back towards the upside, this will quickly flip back into the profits because of the nature of the grid bot, the nature of this trading strategy, taking profits on any little bounce. And so obviously, if we continue to play out this bullish divergence in the shorter term, perhaps over the weekend with a slight little relief like this, then of course that can help push this trading strategy further into profits. And depending on how things are in the new week after the weekend, so when the US stock market opens back up again, potentially if we show a lot of weakness and potentially if we see a decent relief before then, I may look to close this position just due to the fact that we're still likely going to see a lot of weakness over the coming weeks, maybe over the next 1 month or so, based on this much larger bearish divergence playing out. And then perhaps I could reopen the position or reopen the trading strategy from a lower price point, just giving you a heads up before potentially making a move like that. But once again, right now, I'm still in the same trading strategy. And of course, if we see a little bit of a relief here, they'll quickly flip back into the profit. And then, as I said earlier, only if we continue to see a lot of weakness in the US stock market in the new week, if, of course, ideally this flips back into the profits, I may look to slightly close that position. So just keep that in mind. Definitely pay attention to all of this information. All of these charts can help influence what the price of Bitcoin does in the shorter term and in the mid to longer term. And if you want to copy my trading strategy right now, I will leave a link below this video. In fact, the second link below this video will take you to this page right here, where you can copy my current trading strategy if you want to. As always, not financial advice, no guarantees, but with a single click of a button, you can copy my exact exact trading strategy using that second link below this video. But because this is set up over on my Pinex account, of course, you'll need a Pinex account, actually sign up using one of the links below the video in order to copy this trading strategy if you want to. So if you actually don't use one of the links below the video, unfortunately, this copy button simply will not work. And if you actually use the first link below the video to Pinex, that link will take you to this page right here where you can take advantage of a bunch of bonuses, essentially free money from the exchange just by making an account using that link. If you complete KYC, you get a 50 USDT bonus on your account. And there's also deposit bonuses. If you deposit just $100, you get a $100 deposit bonus. If you deposit $10,000, you get a $1,000 bonus onto your Pinex account. So basically free money from the exchange just by simply making deposits or completing KYC. But once again, all of these bonuses here are only available if you're using that first link below the video to actually make your Pinex account. And remember, if you want to copy this trading strategy, it's that second link below this video. But that's just a quick update on my current Bitcoin trading strategy. And if we're taking a quick look at the Bitcoin liquidation heat map, we can see that right now we have a small amount of liquidity building at around 98,500 and also a decent amount building in between 104.8k to 105.3k. So at roughly 105,000, we actually have a decent area of liquidity building right around there. And so considering the fact that we do have this bullish divergence now on the 6-hour Bitcoin price chart potentially starting to play out with one confirmation signal, it's possible that perhaps over the weekend we could see a slight little relief towards that liquidity to perhaps wipe out that liquidity sometime soon. So keep that in mind. That is a strong possibility. Of course, no such thing as a guarantee, but a decent chance of that happening here in the somewhat shorter term over the coming days. But overall, when we're talking about the next few weeks, still expect a lot of weakness. And also just letting you know, if you trade over on 2bit using one of the links below this video, there's actually now a trader recovery fund that 2bit has just essentially made right here if you got liquidated between October 28th to November 4th. So if you're trading over on 2bit using one of the links below the video between those dates right there and you got your trade wiped out, they're just now creating this new recovery fund where they're basically giving out free money to traders that actually got liquidated during this date right here. And so while some other exchanges out there are profiting big time off liquidations, 2bit is actually one of the exchanges out there that actually helps traders and is actually giving money out of their pocket back to traders that got wiped out during those dates right here. So if you want to check this out and actually claim essentially some free money here from 2bit, check out the link below this video. In fact, it'll probably be the third or fourth link below this video, below the Pinex links, take you to this page right here where you can claim essentially free money if you got liquidated. And on top of that, there's also deposit bonuses, etc. if you're using one of the links below this video to make a 2bit account. So if you're going to be trading crypto anyway, you might as well check this out. If you deposit and trade up to these larger amounts here, you can get up to 10,000 USDT in trial fund bonuses and 8,000 USDT in withdrawable stable coins. And on top of that, there's also a simple sign up bonus without making any deposits or any trades. You can get a $30 bonus and also 1 month free VIP3 upgrade. And also 2bit is a no KYC exchange. But remember, all of this right here is only available if you're using the link below the video to actually make your account. So you might as well take advantage of this using that link below the video. And once again, 2bit is a no KYC exchange. But with that being said, taking a look at the Bitcoin dominance on the daily time frame, and right now the Bitcoin dominance is continuing the rejection from my exact area of resistance that I've been targeting for basically over a month now, and that's sitting in between around 60.5% to 61%. So obviously this is all playing out exactly as I said all the way back down here. I've been saying since back down here, expect a slight bullish relief to continue up until we reach this resistance, and then expect a lot of struggle or possible rejections from that area. And so while this is happening in the shorter term for the Bitcoin dominance, of course, this is good news for the altcoin market, because remember, if the Bitcoin dominance is bearish, that means Bitcoin is losing market share compared to the rest of the crypto market. In other words, the rest of the crypto market, aka the altcoins, are gaining market share. So they're basically taking market share from Bitcoin, which basically means a lot of the altcoins on average, not every altcoin, but a lot of the altcoins on average are at least slightly outperforming Bitcoin, holding up a little bit better than whatever Bitcoin is doing. And so while we continue this rejection in the Bitcoin dominance, once again, that is some good news, at least in the short term for the altcoin market. And if we're taking a look at Ethereum on the daily time frame, we are seeing this right now with Ethereum currently bouncing and continuing to hold above this important Fibonacci level, which is sitting at around $2,3050. So just above 3,000 as a major point of support. And if we were to break below that, we have the 50% retracement level sitting at around 2.6K. And as for resistance to watch out for, if we continue a further bounce here, expect a decent amount of resistance at roughly around 3650, so really in between 3.6K to 3.7K. And if we're taking a look at this daily Ethereum price chart, we're also running into a possible area of resistance right now, which so far we have been struggling at over the last couple of days or so, and that's been sitting in between around 3350 to 3450. So basically in that area, expect some short-term resistance, also based on previous support flipping into new resistance. And we also have this area of support further towards the downside based on previous resistance flipping into new support, sitting in between around 2.7K to 2850, so roughly 2.8K as a major area of support. And of course, right now we're still playing out this oversold signal. We pretty much just hit oversold a couple of days ago with that latest dump here in the daily Ethereum RSI. And the last times we got this close to oversold, or got very close to oversold in the daily Ethereum RSI, we did see at least some sort of relief or some sort of bounce in the short term over the next few days or over the next 1 week or so. But remember, this signal by itself does not necessarily mean we're at the bottom. It's possible we could go lower later on, like what we saw right here. But overall, just in the short term, talking about the next few days, maybe the next week, that sort of time frame, expect a little bit of a relief as a very likely scenario, which means either a slight bullish relief or maybe just a sideways consolidation, essentially a bit of a break from all of the bearish price action just in the short term. And if we're taking a look at the price of Solana on the 2-day time frame, right now Solana is perfectly bouncing from my exact level of support, sitting at around 147, really in between around 143 to 147 approximately. We have this area of support to watch out for, which we pretty much perfectly bounced from to the nearest dollar, as we could see right here. And we're now potentially on our way towards retesting this possible point of resistance, sitting at roughly $170. So give or take 170, expect some resistance around there. And if we break out back above that level and hold above that level, in that situation, the next major area of resistance to watch out for is sitting in between 190 to 200. And of course, overall, we're likely going to follow similar price action in the short term as to what Bitcoin and Ethereum are doing. So for example, if Bitcoin plays out this slight bullish divergence, and if Ethereum continues to play out this oversold signal with a slight little relief in the short term, of course, that will also likely help influence Solana with a slight relief in the short term over the next few days or so. Is a very likely scenario. But remember, in terms of the larger price structure, we're still technically looking bearish, showing a lot of weakness. But during the larger bearish move, we can see short-term bullish relief. So right now, we're potentially in that stage in the market, a shorter-term relief during a larger bearish move. And if we're taking a look at the price of XRP on the weekly time frame, we're still being influenced by this massive bearish divergence, still playing out the massive bearish divergence on the weekly XRP price chart, which, yes, I did actually warn about here on the channel months ago, back at the end of July, early August. You can even check my videos back then, warning about a massive pullback coming over the next few months. And almost no one believed me when I said it back then. But now, obviously, you can see that that has played out. But if we're taking a look at the daily XRP price chart, we now have a shorter term bullish divergence officially confirmed and already starting to play out. We can already see over the last couple of days a bit of choppy sideways price action, one of the most common outcomes from a bullish divergence. So ultimately, continue to expect either some more choppy sideways price action like this, or potentially just a slight relief over the next few days or over the next 1 week or so. Just in the somewhat shorter term, expect a bit of a relief, a bit of a break from all of the bearish trend right here. But technically, we're still within the larger bearish trend on the daily XRP price chart. It's just we could see a bit of a short-term break or a short-term relief from the trend. And also, we have to consider points of support and resistance to watch out for. First of all, of course, in terms of the daily candle closes, we do have some support at roughly around $2.20, and we have major support at around $2.05 to $2.06. And as for resistance, we're now testing this area, likely acting as resistance, still sitting in between around $2.30 to $2.40. And if we break out above that area and hold above that area, in that situation, it's quite likely we'll see a move up towards around $2.60 because in between 260 to 270 would be the next major area of resistance towards the upside to watch out for and to target for the price of XRP. But once again, only if we first confirm a breakout above 230 to 240. That's the immediate resistance to watch out for. And it is quite likely we'll see a little bit more of a relief or break from the trend just in the short term over the next few days or over the next week or so. And if we're taking a look at the price of Chainlink on the daily time frame, it's a similar situation for Chainlink, technically still within a larger bearish trend, forming a larger bearish price structure. So if we're talking about the next few weeks or so, still not looking too good, not in the clear yet. But if we're talking about the shorter term, over the next few days, maybe over the next 1 week, yes, we could likely see a little bit of a relief here. So either a bullish relief or maybe a sideways consolidation, just a bit of a break from the bearish trend in the shorter term over the next few days or so. And that's really due to two different reasons. Of course, one reason is because Chainlink with a lot of the major altcoins are highly correlated to each other. So if the rest of these crypto assets like Bitcoin, Ethereum, etc. are playing out these slight reliefs, it's likely Chainlink will do something similar based on that alone. And on top of that, of course, we have a bullish divergence now about to confirm, technically not yet confirmed as of recording this video, but likely about to confirm with this daily candle, especially if this daily candle confirms in the green right here, because we have lower lows in the price in the candle closes and higher lows confirmed or about to confirm with this candle close right here in the daily Chainlink RSI. And in case you're new to this channel, the reason why I'm talking about candle closes in the price, not the actual candle wick lows, is due to the fact that the input data for the RSI by default goes off candle closes. So if you're looking at the actual candle wicks, you would have to actually go into the RSI settings and change the input data to actual candle lows rather than candle closes. But by default, it looks at candle closes, which is why you also have to look at the candle closes when we're looking at the price to determine a divergence between the price and the RSI. And so especially if this confirms in the coming hours with the next daily candle close here, then it's very likely that over the next few days, over the next 1 week, that sort of time frame, expect a little bit of a relief in the short term, a break, but still possibly within the bearish trend, kind of like what we saw just here or just here, for example. And the next points of resistance to watch out for, now that we're starting to break out back above this area in between 1520 to 1570 approximately, if we confirm the candle close above this area, that could likely now become a new support again for the price of Chainlink. And for resistance, expect some resistance at roughly around $16.50, give or take. More resistance at around $17.50, and major resistance in between $19 to $20. And remember, if you want to trade any of these moves in the price of any crypto, check out the links below this video to those exchanges if you want to claim the massive bonuses that are only available using those links. And if you want to actually know how you can trade crypto no matter what the price is doing, then make sure to watch these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how you can profit from bullish or bearish price action using long positions or short positions, and the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.